as promised, today we're going to talk about Gary Foster, the blind man who embezzled $22 million. Now, Gary Foster was a vice president for Citibank, so a very large bank. And he one day discovered that a subordinate to him was making about $10,000 more than he was. He saw a pay stub lying next to a printer, and he's legally blind, so he had some vision. So he was able to read the pay stub and discover this. And he felt absolutely betrayed. He had been putting in many years at this company. He loved this company, and he felt screwed. And about 6 months later, he was dealing with an account that had about $700,000 in it, and the bank wanted it at zero. So he just put it in his own account. And at first felt guilty about it, but then realized, hey, I could provide for my kids. I could, go traveling as long as I don't transfer over $1 million and I don't do it at the end of the month when auditors are paying more attention. I should be fine. And he flew under the radar for about 7 years. And managed to siphon off $22 million. He bought himself houses and luxury cars that he hired chauffeurs to drive him around in. And he lived the high life. He traveled the world. He provided for his kids. He had several different properties. But he screwed up. He screwed up just after he retired, or just before, sorry. He wired himself $3 million at the end of the month and then retired. And he wasn't at the bank working and able to smooth things over or finagle the Excel spreadsheets. And so he was caught by the bank and by the feds. And he didn't want to go on the run. His friends and family were basically telling him, just go, disappear to Morocco or something. And he didn't want to screw over his kids, so he surrendered himself to the feds and pleaded guilty in federal court to embezzlement, and he ended up serving 8 years in prison for stealing this money. But it was completely, he flew under the radar, and the only thing that got him caught was that big payout when he retired, that $3 million payout. He could have gone completely under the radar because he knew how to manipulate the spreadsheets, and any auditors he dealt with were like fresh out of college and feeling like they knew more and just arrogant, and he managed to play them on that. And so it just goes to show you that being disabled doesn't mean you can't manipulate people. Doesn't mean you can't finagle things. Doesn't mean you don't have the skills to get around things, especially with white collar crime in something like 2011 when he retired and got caught. Because you've got JAWS, you've got the technology to help you manipulate these spreadsheets. So, it's definitely, white collar crime is probably something that a blind person could get away with very easily if they knew what they were doing. So that's the story of Gary Foster, the guy who embezzled $22 million and spent 8 years in federal prison for it. Let me know what you think about today's video. Like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you tomorrow.